Hello, and a big welcome back to all my subscribers. And if you're not a subscriber, why not? Today I want to talk about leveraging your language exchanges and how to get more out of them. Now, I've done literally thousands of language exchanges, and I'm pretty good at these things, so I know what I'm talking about, and I'd like to just pass on this sort of advice to you. So stick with me to the end, and I'll give you all of the advice that I've accumulated through all of these language exchanges. So, firstly, just say that language exchanges offer a unique way to practice your target language with a native speaker, and it fosters cultural understanding and it boosts your fluency. And basically, I just want to explore best practices and the tips and tricks that you can use to leverage these interactions to improve your language learning journey. Now, before you even start a language exchange, you need to do some preparation. And the first thing you need to do is work out clear goals of what you want to do during your language exchange sessions. Then you need to select a platform that aligns with your learning style. Are you going to use Zoom, Skype, Teams? Are you going to use a telephone? Are you going to do person to person? Stood in a restaurant? How are you going to do this? Then you need to find somebody and connect with someone with a similar goal, interest, and availability. Availability being the most important thing. And prepare some conversation starters. Have some questions and topics. Get ready to keep the conversation flowing, right? And gather relevant resources. So collect vocabulary lists, grammar references, cultural articles, dictionaries, things you might need during the language exchange. Now, when you're choosing your language partner, you need to find people with similar goals and interests, pace, and commitment. People that are actively seeking regular exchanges, and people that are willing to participate actively and offer constructive feedback for you during your language exchange. Now, you need to structure these exchanges when you start out, but as time evolves and you and your partner change things around, it will evolve, obviously, individual exchanges. But before we talk about structuring an exchange, I would like to mention that I'm an author, and I would really appreciate it if you could take some time to look at my website, xgipublishing.com, and check out my books. The site has links to where you can purchase the books from well-known booksellers like Amazon, Kobo, and others. And I would really appreciate it if you could check out my books and support me if you can. It's a win-win because you support me as an author, and you get to read a great book. So, right. When you structure your language exchange session, during the exchange session, you need to focus on active listening. You need to focus on understanding your partner's speech. Now, you're going to give them corrections, but before you do this, you need to discuss with your partner how those corrections are to be delivered. Now, for example, they might want you to tell them immediately when they make a mistake and correct them immediately every time they make a mistake. Others want you to just note down the mistake, and when they finish speaking, give them the corrections. And other people want to just save up all the corrections to the end, and then you discuss it with each other in the last 5 minutes or so. Now, personally, I hate being interrupted for corrections because it makes me lose my train of thought. Other people prefer it. However you do it, you need to make sure that both you and your partner agree how it's going to work. If you like immediate interruptions and they like their feedback saved up, you could still work together, but it's just, different approach. So work that out in advance before you start, speaking, seriously. Now, the other thing is, don't be afraid to make mistakes, because that's what you're here for. A mistake is an opportunity for a correction or an improvement. You should try and have more deeper conversations than just small talk. Dive into deep conversations, because that will expand your vocabulary. Try and use different activities if you can. Incorporate games, role playing, media consumption. Give each other photographs to describe, that sort of thing. You always need to provide feedback, so actively listen and offer constructive feedback on their pronunciation, their grammar, how fluent they are, just anything that you think will help them to get better at your language. try and maximize your time. Have some conversation starters. Have topics ready to go. If you can agree topics in advance, that's even better because you can practice the vocabulary. Try and share articles, music, or movie trailers in each other's language so that you can talk about them. Try and record the session for later analysis and improvement. Some people don't like that. It's just you need to agree that with the partner in advance, but it is useful sometimes. View your mistakes as just learning opportunities and don't get upset about it, right? And follow up. So after the exchange, send a message and sort of summarize the key points or ask any follow-up questions if you have them. After the exchange, just take a few minutes to review and analyze areas for improvement. Where did you go wrong? Did you write down what you did wrong? Because part of the problem here is that you might not remember what you did wrong tomorrow. You need to do it now, today. Take notes. Frequently during an exchange, it is useful sometimes to have a Google Doc open where both people can edit the document at the same time. And so you can note down problematic words and phrases and things for them and vice versa. And then you have a written record of it for later that you can look at, right? So it helps to do that, and also note down new vocabulary or grammar points as they come up, that sort of thing. Try and stay connected and maintain regular contact with your exchange partners. If you can find somebody who's a regular, it's worth doing. Sporadically meeting people is difficult, but if you can find somebody to do a regular exchange with, it's great. Now, some additional tips. Make sure that you've set specific language goals, and by that I mean if you're trying to learn or enforce a grammatical thing into your head, ask your partner to help you practice. So, for example, future conditional, things like that. There are things like, if I were a millionaire, then I would buy a Mercedes, So those types of grammatical constructions are difficult in some or most languages, and so it's worth practicing them, and also get feedback from your partner about what they would like to practice, their sort of things that they really need to work with. And try and get multiple language partners, because invariably people drop out, or you won't meet up, or it just doesn't work out with somebody. So try and get 3 or 4 people to talk to. You can join language exchange communities and online forums and local meetups and all that sort of stuff, so that you have a bigger pool of people to speak with. And have fun, right? Use games and creative activities during the exchanges, and just try and make this as fun as possible. It shouldn't be a job for either of you. Be patient and stay consistent. Also, consistency wins the race. You will get there in the end if you're just consistent about it. So maximize your learning with this sort of authentic communication, and try and use these tips to build lasting connections. Because once you've made friends with people, then it's much easier, because you're just talking to your friend on Tuesday. It's not like, it's difficult. And the other thing is that when you do language exchanges periodically and you do become friends with someone, then what happens is you get past the, where do you work, what do you do, what do your children do, what are their names. You well past all that. You know what their children's name is, you know what they do for work, you know all of that stuff, and you can start moving on to deeper subjects, philosophy and science and their political opinion, and things that expand your vocabulary well and truly past the he is 12, I am 30, they are blah blah blah. You can really expand your cultural understanding, but also your vocabulary, by talking about other topics. For example, one of my language exchange partners, we used to set each other tasks, like really difficult, like explain to me how an airplane flies, right? And so well, the speed and the lift under the wing, and then they have ailerons and the yaw and the pitch and da 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 da. And so it's just really difficult to explain how an airplane flies in a foreign language, and you know, or just anything like that. You know, if your language exchange partner says, "Oh, I've just eaten some cannoli," you say, "Well, how'd you make cannoli? Explain to me how it's made. You know, explain the recipe to me." Or show them a picture and say, "What's in this picture? Explain the picture to me." Okay, what color is her dress? Or, you know, all that sort of stuff. But anything to just expand your vocabulary and help with your pronunciation and your work. Right, well, I hope you enjoyed this video. I thank you very much for watching. I do appreciate it. And if you like this sort of thing, please like and subscribe and all that jazz. And I'll see you later. Thanks a lot. Bye.